Hello and welcome to this physics video. For this lesson, we are going to go over how to convert between prefixes on the metric system. As you may already know, units such as meters, seconds, and grams measure length, time, and mass respectively. Prefixes can be added to these units to indicate a really large or small quantity. For example, medication is measured in mass, but since the dosages are small, you will find a prefix of milli to measure the mass in milligrams. For larger quantities, meter is a unit to measure distance, but if we're describing a trip across the world, the prefix kilo may pop up measuring the distance in kilometers. In this video, we are going to cover 12 prefixes, but be aware that there are more prefixes than the ones covered. In describing smaller quantities, sometimes these prefixes will be used: deci, centa, millo, micro, nano, and pico. You'll notice that there is a multiplier next to each with 10 to some power. The multiplier is a reference to the measurement without a prefix. For example, gram does not have a prefix and will not have a multiplier. Milligram has a prefix of milli, and the multiplier for milli is 10 to the negative 3. That means 1 milligram is equal to 0.001 gram. In describing larger quantities, sometimes these prefixes will be used: deca, hecto, kilo, mega, giga, and tera. The difference you'll see between the larger prefixes and the small prefixes is the positive and negative signs of powers. Kilometer has a prefix of kilo and a multiplier of 10 to the positive 3, which means 1,000 meters equals to 1 kilometer. There are certainly a lot of prefixes here, and it might be difficult to remember and convert between all of them. We're going to try to make it a little easier by sort of creating a scale to organize all these prefixes, and it's going to look something like this. Going from left to right, it will scale from smaller to larger quantities. On the bottom are the prefixes, and the top will be the corresponding multipliers. The middle is blank, reserved for no prefixes such as meters, grams, seconds, etc. So, how are we going to use a scale to convert between prefixes? Let's do a couple examples. Let's say I want to convert 22,000 centimeters to kilometers. First, find the prefixes centa and kilo on the scale. Second, count the number of intervals it takes to go from centa to kilo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lastly, note the direction I went on the scale, which is to the right. To convert, you are going to move the decimal in the opposite direction, 5 spaces to the left. It is also important to know that the number of spaces to move is equal to the power difference, where the power difference between negative 2 to positive 3 is 5. The decimal places here in 22,000 centimeters, and moving into the left 5 spaces gives us 0.22 kilometers, and that completes the prefix conversion. Let's do one more example. We're going to convert 0.05 seconds to microseconds. First, find it on the scale. Remember, since seconds has no prefix, that would mean it is located at the very center of the scale. Once you find micro, count the number of intervals in between. 1, 2, 3, 6. Immediately you might ask, how did I count from 3 to 6? The reason for this is their difference in power. The power gap between milli and micro is 3. When prefixes are converted using the scale, you're counting the intervals using the powers as a reference. Going from seconds to microseconds, it is a difference of 6 to the left on the scale. So we are going to move the decimal point 6 places to the opposite, which is to the right, giving us a value of 50,000 microseconds. Here are some guidelines on unit conversion. You should ask which way are you converting on the scale and how many. Then move the decimal the same amount of spaces, but opposite. This ends our lesson on prefix conversion on the metric scale. Hope you find it helpful, and thanks for watching.